Real niggas is dying breed. And it may sound complicated, but let me tell you what I believe that I ain't never gonna be broke no more.
Yeah, London. Yeah, London, I like this one here. Hey, I get my reggae on this motherfucker. Check this out. I sold drugs in my younger days to pay bills. And it was hard to hustle around here, you had to be real. Can't tell me nothing about this, cause this what I live. My girl say she had a bad dream, I got killed. Spooked me out of good sleep inside of my crib. And then I started getting all these stupid ideas. Like rob the bank, if I try the shit, they might kill me, baby. I'm a clean nigga that's down to get a little filthy, baby. Bounce back, G-code, you live by it, you die by it, you get rich and you die trying.
That's how you do it.
Real niggas, we a dying breed. And it may sound complicated, but let me tell you what I believe. That I ain't never gonna be broke no more. I ain't never gotta sell dope no more. I ain't gotta see my PO no more. I ain't even gotta be in court no more. I ain't no place for a real nigga. 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 Never gonna be broke. Never gonna go back. Never gonna have to go back to the old me and pull out my old act. Never gonna be bitch. Never not be scrapped. Never not be on it. Never not. I ride to the full flats. Get the money right now while you're here. That's what they told me. All of my waters. So I'ma just play it by ear and fuck all these hoes cause they ain't important. Can't tell me it isn't my year. Don't need the support. Don't need your endorsement. When you're showing me this way it is, they can ignore you. They gon' see more of you. These bitches ain't fuck with me then. But me to think I'ma fuck with them now. They better my girl is a win. And she ain't just in it. Bitch up in the crowd. Fuck with me cause I'm a real nigga, we a dying breed. And it may sound complicated, but let me tell you what I believe. That I ain't never gonna be broke no more. I ain't never gotta sell dope no more. I ain't gotta see my PO no more. I ain't even gotta be in court no more. There ain't no place for a real nigga. 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 Remember how I once was. Whole hood full of young thugs. We was making money stealing cars, but we made more money when we slung drugs. I was about to start jacking on everything I love. My big homie pulled me aside and said it'd be cool with a young blood. You still got a whole lot of life to live. You still got a whole lot of life to live. Nigga want a boat in the car in the crib so we could be happy like the Cosby kids. Now first I wanna say rest in peace to my past. And rest in peace to them presidents of that cash. Real talk, nigga. So when I lay my head, I can say I did it all, nigga. Real niggas, we a dying breed. And it may sound complicated, but let me tell you what I believe. That I ain't never gonna be broke no more. I ain't never gotta sell dope no more. I ain't gotta see my PO no more. I ain't even gotta be in court no more. There ain't no place for a real nigga. There ain't no place for a real nigga. There ain't no place for a real nigga. There ain't no place for a real nigga.
Peace and love. Gotta get my little anthem. That's that new juvie, baby. That new juvenile. Never going back, you hear me? Never going back. For all the people who've been in jail before, been incarcerated, you can feel that. That's the anthem right there. When you know you've changed your life, and you know you'll never be like you used to be, and you can sit back and you can say it with all assurance that you'll never be the same no more. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, shouts out to Juvie, man. Love this song. But let me get it officially started. Peace and love. It's your brother Isaiah tapping in with another one for all the conscious brothers and sisters in the conscious community. Keeping the struggle because we know it's group struggle, bro. Also, I like to say that the process is a slow process, and it's not to the swift. It's to those that stay in it for the long haul. Make sure you stay studious in your studies. And also, I like to say that I don't offer legal advice. I'm not legal counsel, not an attorney. None of those titles. I'm just your brother. I just share with you education, information about my walks, travels throughout my journey called life. I like to extend this honesty because when you're honoring man and woman, you most definitely honor yourself. Let me give adorations to the Most High. who's the head temple of my life, and extend that same love, courtesy, and acknowledgement to all of his messengers and prophets, and peace to you, beloved brothers and sisters in grand rising, to all of those that are awake in this day and time. So today we want to talk a little bit about signatures by a representative, okay? Well, by now you should know that you are representing a U.S. person, that every man and woman in the United States is representing a person. Each one of us has our own person, and our person is also considered as our legal identity. So your person is your private property. Your identity is your private property, all right? But it's also considered your person. So what a lot of institutions do, they mix your person and you up when they know that the person is an entity that establishes accounts and agreements in your name. So your person is a character that creates accounts. This character can also accept agreements and other things, and it's connected to you, all right? But the man or the woman who uses the legal identity, who uses the legal characteristics of their name, is not the actual name itself. A man is not a name. A man is not a record. A woman is not a name. And a woman is not a record. A man or a woman, they both use a record, right, that supersedes them as far as verification of who they are, right? So let's read this. So the signature by a representative. If a person acting or purporting to act as a representative signs an instrument by signing either the name of the represented person or the name of the signer, the represented person is bound by the signature to the same extent that the represented person would be bound if the signature were on a simple contract. If the represented person is bound, the signature of the representative is the authorized signature of the represented person, and the represented person is liable on the instrument, whether or not identified in the instrument. Excuse me. So when you purport to do an act for the taxpayer concerning an instrument, either you are acting as a representative that's representing that taxpayer or that legal identity by either signing the name of the represented person or the name of the signer. So the name of the signer will be you, and the person you represent will be the taxpayer, because the taxpayer can't act on its own accord. It's a record that has to be used by a specific party in order to be conveyed and transferred. So if the representative signs the name of the representative to an instrument and the signature is an authorized signature of the represented person, the following rules apply. So your proper name, say my name Isaiah Jakeem Bay. My surname is Bay, and my given name is Isaiah Jakeem. My full legal name is Isaiah Jakeem Bay, just like a run-on sentence. My legal name has no separation in the name. All right, it represents one legal character. Now, when I sign an instrument, if I sign just my personal name, the way that I know how to sign my name personally, it makes me personally liable, because I'm doing a personal act, right? But what am I trying to get you to understand is that when you go outside your house and you go and enter into a contract, you're not acting personally at that time. You're acting legally at that time. So you're supposed to be acting through your legal person. Because legally, we all have a legal person as our legal identity that legally we're supposed to use in commerce. So when you leave your house and go out and do business, you're supposed to be in your uniform. And what is the uniform? Your uniform is your taxpayer. You're supposed to be acting in that capacity. So not personal, See, the reason why you seem like you're in debt is because all the transactions since you've been doing business, you've been doing it personally, signing personally to accept liability, not understanding your legal capacity. Let's keep going. Subject to the subsection C, if the form of the signature does not show unambiguously that the signature is made in a representative capacity or that the represented person is not identified in the instrument, right? The representative is liable on the instrument to the holder in due course that took the instrument without notice that the representative was not intended to be liable on the instrument. With respects to another person, the representative is liable on the instrument unless the representative proves that the original parties did not intend the representative to be liable on the instrument. If the representative signs the name of the representative as drawer of a check, so if you draw a check without indicating the representative status, and the check is payable from the account of a represented person who is identified on the check, the signer is not liable on the check if the signature is an authorized signature of the represented person. So usually the person who you're representing is usually is named in the agreements. So if I'm representing a taxpayer, that taxpayer name will be on the contract. Even if the taxpayer name is similar to mine, even if it's spelt like my name, dramatically by law, the taxpayer name and my name are totally different. And when the taxpayer is the one responsible in the agreement, they make sure that they give a conspicuous statement, meaning they put his name in all capital letters. That's a conspicuous statement, all right? That's a conspicuous statement. Let me show it to you. Make sure y'all like, share. If this is your first time, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss whenever I go live. Now, the term conspicuous, right, in legal context refers to something that is easily seen or noticed, particularly in contracts where certain terms must attract a person's attention to ensure awareness of rights and obligations, right? All right, so understanding the legal definition of conspicuous is crucial. Definition: conspicuous terms are those that are reasonably persons should notice as defined by the Uniform Commercial Code. These terms are designed to ensure individuals are aware of their rights and obligations in legal agreements. Clear and conspicuous disclosures are required, easily noticeable, and understandable by ordinary consumers, right? But a conspicuous statement is also the name, okay? When you see a name in all caps, that's a conspicuous statement. It's like they're trying to get you to pay attention to the person who is liable for the obligation, so they're making sure that that person who is liable, that they make sure that his name stands out on the document. So whenever that your principal is liable, his name will always be on the contract. It will always be the all cap name. Now, let me get into this real quick. So right here it tells you, like, if a representative signs the name of the representative as drawer of a check without indicating the representative status, right? If you sign a debt instrument, which is almost like issuing a check, you don't give a representative status, right? And the check is payable from the account of a representative person. So, and you issue an instrument that's payable from the taxpayer's account, meaning they issued it, but it has to be paid from the taxpayer because you just accepted it. So now it got to be paid from that account that just accepted the instrument, okay? Who is identified on the check? Who is identified on the check? It's the taxpayer. It's the account that they issued the instrument for. That's the account is identified as the person responsible on the instrument, right? And the signer is not liable on the check if the signer is an authorized signer of the representative person. So even if you was to sign your personal name, the taxpayer still remains liable because even your personal signature is an authorized signature for your person. So even if you was to sign personally, you're still authorizing the taxpayer's obligation. It's just a misrepresentation because they're not aware of how you choose to act. So it can be assumed and presumed just by you signing your name alone that any other creditor can assume you're accepting liability, but your taxpayer still remains liable for that obligation, whether or not you become liable or not. Okay, let's go back. So when we read this, it's talking about a representative person. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is this. See this right here, this hyperlink that says representative person? When I click on the hyperlink for representative person, why does it take me here? So the person that I'm representing, according to the hyperlink and the definition of represented person, it ain't talking about a man or a woman. Look, it says accepted. Means the drawee who has accepted the draft. So somebody issued a draft and somebody accepted it. Then it said a consumer account. Means an account established by an individual, but primarily so my acceptance, the person I'm representing, has something to do with drafts. It has something to do with a consumer account. And then it says a consumer transaction means a transaction in which an individual incurs an obligation. So basically, a consumer account is where drafts are issued and the person acting as the consumer enters into a transaction concerning those drafts by accepting those obligations. Oh, okay, I get it now. Then it says the drawee means the person ordered in the draft to make the payment. So the drawee will be the institution that you select to process payment. And the drawer is the person who is signed in the draft as the person ordering payment, which will be you, right? The maker will be the taxpayer. The maker is the person who signs or is identified in the note, which is the promise to pay, as the person undertaking to pay the note. And the order or a written instruction to pay money signed by the person giving the instruction. The instructions may be addressed to any person, including the person giving the instruction, or to two or more persons jointly or alternatively, but not in succession. An authorization to pay is not in order unless the person authorized to pay is also instructed to pay. Okay? Now, we talk about ordinary care, right? Ordinary care in the case of a person engaged in the business means observance of reasonable commercial standards prevailing in an area in which the person is located with respect to the business in which the person is engaged. In the case of a bank that takes an instrument for processing. So what does it mean? In case of a bank that takes an instrument for processing, but when we go up here at the top, it's talking about acceptor, it's talking about consumer account, it's talking about consumer transaction, it's talking about drawee, it's talking about drawer, maker, order, and then when we get down here, it says right here, in the case of a bank. Now, up here it says that the drawee is the person, is the person ordered to make the payment. Wouldn't that be the bank? Wouldn't you order your bank to process an item that you're delivering to the bank? Why would you deliver an item? Because you can get credit for a deposit of an item, right? Would a bill be an item? Would a check, would a money order? All these things are considered as items, right? Now check it out. So it says, in the case of a bank that takes an instrument for processing, for collection or payment. So if I got a bill from a merchant where an amount is due on my account to be collected for payment, wouldn't I want to send that to my bank? If they're saying this amount is due on my account to be collected for payment, and then here it's telling me usually a person issues an instrument for processing, For collection and payment by automated means, reasonable commercial standards do not require the bank to examine the instrument. If the failure to examine does not violate the bank's prescribed procedures, and the bank's procedures do not vary unreasonably from general banking usage, not disapproved by this order. So it's saying that the bank treats every instrument like it treats every other instrument. If it's deposited, then it goes through the regular banking procedures, usually 2 or 3 days to clear, or a day or so to clear the item. So it's the exact same process. What's the difference in a Federal Reserve $5 bill and a T-Mobile $250 bill? Ain't they both bills? What is this, right? I mean, y'all help me understand, because I don't get it. Now, a party means a party to an instrument. Now, let's look at this instrument. All right, so when we go to an instrument, it says it's an unconditional promise or an order to pay a fixed amount of money with interest or other charges described. Usually when you get a bill, don't a bill have a fixed amount of money that's due? And usually do the bill describe other charges such as interest fees and stuff that may be added on for non-payments? So usually invoices and things like that, they fall in within the definition of A right here. Am I tripping, or am I right, or am I wrong? But I think I'm right. Let me move. Because Brother Isaiah, I believe that I'm right? And what I'm saying, okay? So usually a billing statement, an invoice, these are orders, but they're not unconditional order, because an unconditional order is either payable to the bearer or it's either payable to the order. All right. So, but an item, let me get it back. So an item, right, is a negotiable instrument. It's an unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without stating interest and other charges in the promise or the order, if it is payable to the bearer or to the order at the time it is issued or first comes into possession of the holder. So if an instrument specifies an amount of money, interest to be payable, and at the time that instrument comes into possession of the holder could be the gas company, the water company, or anybody that's holding the original right on the contract, is payable on demand at a definite time, does not state any other undertaking or instruction by the person promising or ordering the payment to do anything in addition to the payment of money. But the promise or the order may contain an undertaking or a power to give or maintain or protect the collateral to secure payment, an authorization or a power to the holder to confess judgment or realize on disposal of collateral, or a waiver of a benefit of any law intended for the advantage or the protection of an object. An instrument means a negotiable instrument. So it tells you that an instrument is negotiable. So if you receive an instrument from any institution, that's considered as a negotiable instrument, right? And it says, in order that meets all the requirements of subsection A, except paragraph 1. And otherwise, it falls within the definition of the check. In subsection F is a negotiable instrument in a check. So what it's saying is, all right, so if I was to receive an instrument and it had an unconditional promise or an order to pay a fixed amount of money, and that instrument had interest or it didn't have interest attached to the amount that's due, right? It says that as long as the instrument identifies a fixed amount of money that's due and payable, and at the time when I receive it, it's not payable to the bearer, at the time when I get it, or there's not an order written on the instrument that is issued to a specified person at the time I get receipt of the instrument, then according to this, it's saying that the instrument, as long as it meets subsection A and it's not payable to the order or payable to the bearer, but it is an unconditional order to pay somebody, or an amount is due to somebody, which is also an unconditional order of an amount due, because anything due is also payable. So if I receive an instrument with an unconditional order of an amount due and payable stated in the instrument, but it's not payable to the bearer or payable to the order, but it is an order of an unconditional amount, then that instrument falls within the definition of a check. And it's a negotiable instrument and a check. So when you receive a bill, you're receiving an instrument, but also you're also receiving a check. Why is it a check? Because the amount due in the instrument is the unpaid balance, which is the check that can be paid. The balance of the instrument is the check that's not paid yet. Okay, so a negotiable instrument is an unconditional order in writing. Now let me check this out, right? Is an amount due on an instrument considered to be an unconditional order that's due and payable. Now look what Brother Isaiah just pulled up. Now see, y'all need to get with the brother, man. I'm trying to teach y'all. I'm trying to wake y'all up. A lot of y'all don't even want to come in and rotate with the brother so you can learn what you need to learn. But I'm trying to teach you, right? So you can understand that what a negotiable instrument is, right? All right, so right here, I asked the question, right? Is an amount due on an instrument, an amount due, because every instrument we get, it always says that an amount is due to us, right? Is an amount due on an instrument considered to be unconditional order that is due and payable? That's what I asked it. And what it says? It says yes. An amount due on a negotiable instrument is considered unconditional order to pay a fixed amount that is due and payable. This means that the instrument must clearly state the obligation to pay without any conditions attached. So your monthly bills are what? Negotiable instruments. Like, really, I can't make it up, man. I can't make it up, you know? And I'm showing it to you. Not only am I showing it to you, I'm proving it to you of what they are, okay? So when you go here, and it's talking about a representative person, and it's saying signing as a representative, well, if you understand that you're using a consumer account, so many people want you to believe that there is no such thing as a taxpayer account, it don't exist, you are the taxpayer, you're trying to alleviate your obligation. These people try to turn us into entities within their system by getting us to assume that the name, the legal name, was our true name, and not understanding its separate status as a legal entity, right? And understanding that every man represents an identity. Man is not his identity. A man is not even the flesh, the body that you see him in. When you see a man walking down the street, that's not the real man you see. That's a replica. That's a image of who the man is. The real man is spirit, can't be seen. You see what I'm saying? So when you say represented person, right? Man has never been a name or a number on a piece of paper. Never been a name or a number on a birth certificate. A man has never been that. A man has always used that to represent who he was. So a man is a representative of a name or number, right? The represented person is the person that the man gets to act as in commerce. Every man has a title and a right to act under the identity of a person. Every last one of us has the rights to act under the identity of the person, and we have the rights to control and use the person for our personal, family, and household benefit. Nobody can stop you from signing in your person's name or utilizing your person to your advantage because it's your property and you get to use it. See what I'm saying? But understanding what you're representing and knowing how to represent that thing which has been assigned to you is critical in you being able to do things that you need to do. So you're not a taxpayer. A taxpayer is a consumer account. I'm gonna say it again. You are not a taxpayer. A taxpayer is a consumer account in which a man uses to pay taxes. We pay taxes through our taxpayer account. How do we pay taxes? By issuing orders for the account once the amounts are given to us and notice has been provided how much taxes due on our account. You see what I'm saying? So you got to change the way you think. You got to change, your understanding of how you understand money, credit, negotiable instruments. I mean, there's more to it. I ain't going to, full detail on every in and out on what you would do and all of these different things. But what I'm trying to show you overall is that you do have a right outside of going to work a job to get a negotiable instrument from the job and use that negotiable instrument to pay with. It doesn't even make sense. Don't make sense when every creditor issues a negotiable instrument. No creditor can enter into an agreement with you and not supply you with goods. Anybody dealing with you has to supply goods to you in order to service the relationship that y'all have. See, most people don't understand what's being serviced. Okay? Billing comes from unpaid obligation. Only reason why you receive bills is if the obligation is unpaid. If the obligation is secured, there is no billing. Billing comes from default. The only time you get bills is if there's a default in the interest on the contract, meaning that there's a default. Somebody defaulted between the parties. One party is in default and it's causing the other party a liability. All right, neither party should have a liability. Each party should have equal equity, meaning both parties should basically meet in the middle and everything should settle between them. Not one party receiving his side of the contract, but the other party is indebted on this person getting his. When he get what he gets and I get what I get, if we both are given equal consideration of the same value, then we both shall settle with each other. Because the value that I'm offering is the same value that was offered to me. And if he's the one offered the value and I'm using it, then he recognizes that the value that I'm using is the value that he offered. And in me using the value that he offered, he reduces that value for me. He don't charge me. He recognizes that I agree to his terms. I agree to the terms and the conditions. And that my order is an order to use the amount that he said that I had the rights to use under the terms of the agreement. So this right here in itself is a reduced balance. Credit is something that you use in order to reduce an amount that was approved for you. So when you get approved for an amount, it usually comes with a reduced balance. Every loan comes with a reduced balance. I can't make it up. They all come with a reduced balance. Most people never accept and use the balance to reduce the debt. So they end up having to pay and increase the debt by paying more principal toward the note in order to settle the note. So now your principal then went up because you're using principal in order to pay principal rather than using interest to reduce principal. Principal is issued as the original loan. Interest is paid into principal to reduce the principal back down. When you receive a loan, you're receiving principal and interest pours back into the principal, which reduces it back down to zero. If you default on the interest that you signed it and agreed to pay, then the lender gets to collect it because you promised to pay it. And whether you have to pay it by cash payments or however he got to collect those payments directly from you, then he's entitled to the payments as long as he's holding the promise made by you. Even if he's the one to fulfill the promise and you haven't accepted and demanded performance of his obligation to provide you the funds that you have to pay with. If the lender owes you money, you need to make sure that you request it so that you can use it for the purpose that it's being used for. If you don't if you don't demand or draw or order for what you want, then how you expect to get it? These people are just not giving you nothing at all. Anything, they're gonna take it from you. But let me stop right here, man. Let me stop. All right. So I just wanted to come on, man. I ain't gonna be on it long. I just wanted to tap in and say a couple of words, help people understand about a representative capacity. A lot of people don't understand what it means to represent a taxpayer. You should be able to distinguish the taxpayer from you. You should be able to look at the taxpayer and be able to identify the taxpayer. And if you are the one representing that taxpayer and you are the one authorized to use the taxpayer, you should be able to be sound in mind to understand your position in reference to a record that you're using. See, most of us think that we are the identity that we're signing on to the contract. You ain't no damn identity. You're not an identity. You're not a name. You're not a number. If you're using a name and a number, you are the representative of that name and of that number. You're just not representing it because you've been taught to believe that the name and number identifies you personally. So anytime you use it, you're using it as a personal identification, even though it is personal. Identification is also tied into your business. So if you don't know how to use it right, then you incur all the liability of the company name that the government has assigned to you. Your government name is your company name. A company name is a name used by a company in order to enter into contracts and agreements. All right. Usually each company has an authorized officer who has the authority to control or manage the company. All right. A sole proprietorship is where the company and the agent are solely bound as one entity. So there's no distinction between the company and the man, meaning that the name of the man is also the name of his company. But the distinction between both is the company is identified by the style of the company's name, and the man's name properly identifies him. So when the man is receiving contracts, entering into an agreement, if he's unable to recognize which party he is, he remains liable because he don't understand his principles. You know what I'm saying? His legal capacity. And that automatically puts you in what? Bondage, because you misrepresent yourself. Matter of fact, not only do you misrepresent yourself, you commit an act of fraud, a fraudulent transaction to where you're doing things unofficially. You're not, anytime you enter into a contract wrong, it's considered as unauthorized transaction. Unauthorized transactions. You have unauthorized transactions, and then you have authorized transactions. You need to know the difference. Because if you're doing unauthorized acts, then no wonder you can't get any benefits, because everything you're doing is unauthorized. And you need to learn how to do things within the right capacity so that you can have authorization for the things that you're doing. With that said, man, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring this one to a close. Like I said, I ain't gonna be long. I just wanted to come on and drop a few words, but I will be back sometime today with a little bit more. If you want to, you can catch me on YouTube. I'll be going on YouTube a little bit later, dropping some science on YouTube. So y'all stay tuned. But YouTube is gonna be for the paid members. I haven't put nothing up for them, but I got a couple of things I'm about to load up. I think I'm gonna load up a webinar too. The latest webinar I just had for I think processing payments. Gonna load that up to the YouTube membership. If you don't know that Building Better Minds, we do have a paid subscription on YouTube to where you can join the paid subscription and see exclusive videos, other things that I've done that's exclusive stuff that you can only get through the membership and by signing up to the YouTube and getting access to that information. Also, as a member, if you were to join, you'll have access to all of our prior past classes and all the different things that we have internally within our community, within this agency. So it's a lot of different things that never touch the public. I got tons of information that has never touched the public. And the only way you can get this information, you have to be a member. That's the only way you can get access to certain classes, certain information, websites, forums, different things that I share with them for them to know. You can only get that as a member. So if you're not a member, you're missing out on a lot of great information, man. Because a lot of stuff that I have is not public. Anything I put public is information to help people get an understanding. But the actual things that other stuff, is internal. You gotta come in order to learn certain things, like the proper way to use a debit card. You know what I'm saying? You gotta come in and learn the proper way to draw or to process an EFT, right? And I can't make it up. If you really want to know, you gotta tap in, because you think you understand. You think that you know how to use something, but a lot of y'all don't even know that a debit card is an electronic funds transfer device. A lot of y'all don't even know that. Y'all think it's just a debit card. Oh, I get my debit card. That is not no damn just a debit card. That's an EFT device. That's an electronic funds transfer device that the bank has given you to do EFTs with, but you don't know how to use it. You don't know how to use it. And because you don't know how to use it properly, you're restricted. What do you mean? You can only use it for certain types of transactions. Because that's the only way you know how to use it. And because that's the only way you know how to use it, then you're bound and limited with your uses. But if you tap in with Brother Isaiah, you're going to learn some other ways of being able to utilize that same exact card in ways that you can only imagine. You wouldn't even have even thought of some of the stuff that I'm gonna show you. I'm trying to tell you. When I show you, you're like, wow, how did you, man? Did you know did you know your debit card could be charged $24,000 per day? $24,000 per day. Google it. Yeah, 24,000. That's a lot to be charged every day. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that. All right, with that said, man, I'm gonna get on up out of here. Peace and love. Y'all have a blessed, y'all have a wonderful day. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.